Okay, today is August the 30th, 2018, and right now at 10 p.m. we have a temperature of 69 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. The relative humidity is 42%. The dew point is 45 degrees, and the barometer is down at 29.89 inches. And today we had heavy chemical aerosol spraying all day here in the Los Angeles area. Let's go ahead and take a look at that map here real quick, and we can see what's happening. This is the western U.S. water vapor loop, and today we had heavy aerosol spraying all day over the Southern California area, and the reason is because we have a low pressure system right here, which is winding a lot of moisture, tropical moisture, right into Southern California right here. So let's go take a look at the southwest map. We can see these images. This is the water vapor image for the southwest, and we can see all that moisture streaming in. This would have brought cooler, damp conditions, would have created much cooler temperatures and possibly some rain, certainly some rain. This is a tropical flow moving right out of the, let's go ahead and look at the big map. Right here we can see that this is actually streaming from Hurricane Miriam. Now both of these storms were Category 1s about a day and a half ago. Norman has exploded into a very strong Category 4 storm in about a day and a half with 150 mile per hour winds sustained. So this thing is getting close to being a Category 5. We'll look at that here shortly. It's got a very well-defined eye wall. Miriam is still a Category 1. Miriam formed before Norman, and but Norman has really exploded into a very powerful hurricane. It's being blown apart here. We can see the pressure waves as this area is being superheated. So the superheating process is done most likely by satellite, and that disrupts the convective process, and by superheating the water vapor in the system, and so that disrupts the convective process, and that's what we're seeing here with Hurricane Miriam. Same thing. Now all this moisture from Miriam is moving right up past this. This is a low pressure system. We can see a sort of a right angle right there. What's happening? We have a transmitter that is isolating the vortex here, and we can see that happening. We've got that right angle. We know that when we see that right angle imprint, the associated frontal system, which is actually moisture from this hurricane, which should be wrapping into that vortex, is not wrapping in. We can see that it's blocked. And so there is a transmitter working on this area to prevent this moisture from wrapping in and intensifying that weather system. So what's happening is, instead of wrapping into that vortex, this moisture from this hurricane is going right into California, Southern California, and of course we should be seeing rain from this small amount of moisture moving in right here. And all day long we had very, very heavy chemtrail spraying. So again, we see the pattern over and over and over. This is, I have about 850 videos on this channel, and many of them show this same pattern. We see the chemtrails when we have a chance of rain. And sometimes when it's raining, we see them spraying the chemtrails to prevent too much rain, because we now have weather markets. We have weather derivatives markets. We have weather options markets. We have catastrophic bond markets on Wall Street where you can gamble and bet on the weather. And this is driving what's going on here. So weather manipulation is a profitable business when you can manipulate the price of food by depriving a state of water to grow food and base products, soybeans, for example, all the food products that go in to make the foods that we buy at the grocery store: wheat, corn, soybeans, beef. All that's manipulated by what's happening with our weather. Now today we had some breezy conditions in the foothills. We see that anytime we have a long stretch of water vapor cruising along through the Pacific or anywhere, it eventually starts to spiral counterclockwise, and that's what we're seeing right here. and we see the pressure wave right there. This area was superheated as it was moving right over Southern California. So we had some breezy conditions today, and of course that was done. This was done to prevent this area from spooling up into a low pressure system. And of course, right here we have another low pressure system right over Mexico. This giant area spinning counterclockwise. We see thunderstorms bubbling up right here, which are being targeted. But right here we see that pressure wave right there towards the end of the loop, where this area here was targeted. So let's go back and let's take a look at Norman real quick. This is a Category 4 with sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, a central pressure of 937 millibars. This is a strong storm, and it's moving west-southwest at 9 miles per hour. So it's moving west-southwest. It's going to do a dip and then move back up to the west-northwest. Let's look at the track here real quick, and we can see loads up. There it is. We have the cone track right here. It's going to go to the west-southwest, and then it'll turn back up. And Hawaii's right along the 20 degrees north latitude, so we'll have to keep an eye on what happens in the next few days with Hurricane Norman. Now, right here behind Norman, we have a disturbance with a 60% chance of hurricane formation in 48 hours, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Let's go out to the Central Pacific and take a look at Miriam, which is still a Category 1 storm right here with sustained winds of 85 miles per hour, Category 1, with a central pressure of 982 millibar, moving north at 8 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and look at the track for Norman, or rather Miriam, right here. And we see that Miriam is scheduled to move basically due north and up into cooler waters. So we'll keep an eye on both of these systems, and of course the disturbance right behind Norman. Right there. So let's get back to these maps and see what's going on. So here's the East Pacific water vapor loop. We can see that a sort of a barricade has been built in right here to prevent these storms and their moisture from merging together. We can see what's going on right there. And also right here we see what's happening. This area is filling out with dry air, and that will prevent this thunderstorm activity, this counterclockwise rotating, very large area of rotating air mass right there. Right here we see this dry air mass being installed to prevent the mixing of these two areas of weather. And also right here we have this disturbance bubbling up, and soon enough we'll see a dry area fill out right here to prevent these two from merging. You can already see some of that happening right here. And we can see the eye wall. Now the floaters map for some reason has not featured Norman tonight, and it may be that there is a lot of manipulation going on right around this storm. We can see the pressure waves, the blast pattern, this icicle pattern around the north and northwest edge of that storm. And so there's a lot of manipulation right in here. We can see that the center of this storm is not symmetrical. It's rather lopsided. The eye wall through a lot of these frames is way off to the right side. It's not dead center as you would expect to see in a hurricane just moving along. So there is a lot of manipulation occurring here, going on, and that is causing the blast pattern, the shock waves, and the non-symmetrical center. And of course, this is a Miriam. All this moisture is streaming right past this low pressure system and towards Southern California. So Southern California should be having cool, rainy conditions today, and probably tomorrow as well. We will probably see more chemtrail spraying tomorrow. However, this blockade built in, this has been installed to prevent any of this moisture from moving north and also from merging with this system here. It may be that this, by tomorrow morning, Friday morning, this will all be pushed north, and the people in Central and Northern California will get a strong dose of what we had today, which is very, very heavy chemtrail spraying to prevent the rain. This is the only reason that they're spraying these chemical aerosols, and that is to prevent the rain. We know this because the relative humidity drops, and of course these aerosols have been tested, and they contain nanoparticulate aluminum, which is a desiccant. Desiccant removes water vapor. All right, so here is the north east Pacific infrared map. And we could have 3 hurricanes going here before we know it. This is that disturbance. This is Norman, and this is Miriam. Here's the Hawaiian Islands, which for the time being seem to be out in the clear. We've got some like fairly clear air right in this area. But this is why we're having this low pressure system is being worked on. We see that quasi right angle. They're not allowing this moisture from this hurricane to wind into this low pressure, because this would quickly spool up into a much larger weather system. And the name of the game the last few years is to prevent rain in California. We had some rain the season before last. We had about 21 inches. But the overall long-term average rainfall in California has been really cut back. And so the spigot has been turned off, and it remains off. Although we should be having rain from this pattern. Now, there is a reason why the mainstream media, the left-leaning mainstream media, is showing us cartoon weather maps on TV. There's a reason for that. They will not show us these satellite maps because most people that grew up that are over, 50 years old would know that this is precipitation. This is water vapor. This is fairly deep water vapor and precipitation moving right over towards California. So there's a reason why the news media doesn't show us these maps, because they don't want us to know the truth. Here we see the southwest map. We see that fast-moving water vapor trail. We also see the chemtrails being sprayed. Look at this right here. I didn't bring up the MODIS Today map, but certainly if you want to take a look at the MODIS Today color satellite map for this region right here, you'll see the heavy spraying. You can see that occurring perpendicular to the flow. We had a developing weather system right here today, which is being manipulated. If we look at the pressure maps, we can see that this is the surface map. We've got this low right out here. Pardon me, this is actually, this should be a low, but they've got this listed as a high. Right here, we can see that right here. This is that low pressure system. The surface level are showing a high pressure, and of course that's probably because of this manipulation right here, which is not allowing the water vapor to wrap into that vortex. So if we get back to the map, we can see here at the surface level we got high pressure indicated. We have 1,020 here, 1,024, and so forth. So that is actually a high. Now if you go to the 500 millibar, we've got, oh, pardon me, this is a low. This is the high. Okay, all right, so the low is not even indicated at the surface level. I see. Okay, so we've got that right angle right here. I didn't really look at these too close until just now. Let's get the thing centered up. So there's the sea level pressure map. We have the 500 and the 300. Here's the squigglies. And that's the manipulation occurring over that developing low. Okay, that's it.